Hello, it's Dawn Michelle and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to share with you a look at the Red Threads Tarot created by Linda Hill. So this is a absolutely gorgeous indie produced tarot deck. Full disclosure, I was sent this deck to share with you here. So this is a deck that I've actually looked at many times. I don't have a particular affinity for the Greek pantheon, but there is just something about the way that this creator has made their art and the way that they've interpreted the tarot that I think is really cool. We have a gorgeous guidebook, which we'll take a look at here in a minute, but you know me, I gotta jump right into those cards. So, okay, I guess before we jump into the cards, like real quick, let's talk about the box. It is gorgeous. There's a quote on the side by Robert Johnson. On the back, around the box, it says, "Then it seemed like falling into a labyrinth. We thought we were at the finish, but our way bent around, and we found ourselves, as it were, back at the beginning, and just as far from that which we were seeking at first." Beautiful. I love that. I love how it goes around. So real quick, I'll just read what's on the back of the box so that we can get a little bit of an idea of what this deck is about. 5,000 years ago, an advanced Bronze Age civilization was founded and became known as Minoan Crete. At the very heart of this society was nature, which was honored in the form of the Great Mother Goddess and was highly revered by the people in their everyday life, ritual, and artwork. This tarot will traverse the myth of Ariadne and Dionysus. You have heard the call. There is so much for you to encounter in the labyrinth, and for this is where you find shadow and light, tears, sadness and joy, wounds and love. You may feel challenged and overwhelmed at times, excited too, but always full of love and devotion. Walk the pathways of initiation where you will find unity and wholeness. The labyrinth awaits your presence. I have to say that the whole labyrinth theme of this deck is a really big draw for me. Labyrinth is actually a card I included in my own deck as well, so that's really cool to see it represented here. Gorgeous two-piece box here, and we're gonna jump right into the cards. So on the card back, we have that same phrase. I'm usually not a huge fan of writing on the back of a deck, but I kind of love this, that it goes around and around. The wording itself actually mimics the labyrinth pattern as well, and I think that's actually really cool. The backs are stunning. I love the colors. They're so beautiful. Definitely going to have to edge this. I do want to mention this is quite a large deck, so it is an oversized tarot. Let me see what I have in comparison for you. So here we have a standard Llewellyn size deck, so you can see that this is much larger. It's even larger than a traditional oracle size deck, so just something to know going in. I think it's quite beautiful, and the artwork is absolutely stunning in this deck. So before we jump in, I do want to note that there is a whole structure and system to this tarot deck. Now, I would be doing it a better service if I were actually to go through all of that with you, but as I have not actually read the guidebook or had a chance to work with the cards yet, I really just wanted to show it to you, and then at some point when I do get a chance to work through the actual deck itself, I'll be able to give you a better idea of a review of the deck. So for right now, we're just kind of getting to know it. The major arcana is associated with various deity and figures. I am not going to attempt to pronounce all of their names because I will slaughter them, but I just want to make sure that you know that there are associations there. So then when we get into our minor arcana, we do have a little bit of a renaming of the suit. They're divided up elementally, which I love. We have the discs, which is the earth element, the red threads, which is fire, the blades, which is air, and the cups, which is water. And then for the court cards, those have also been renamed. We have in the disc suit, we have gods and goddesses. In the red thread suit, we have witches. In the blades, we have queen, king, prince, and youth. And in the cups, we have god, goddess, priestess, and priest. That is so unique and interesting. I can't wait to see how that all comes together in this particular deck. There's also mention of the Minoan numbering system, and that does appear on the card as well, which is fantastic. I am so excited to get into this. So I just wanted to, note that before we really jump into the cards, just so that you can kind of see what we're looking at. But we'll come back to the book and take a proper flip through it here at the end. There is, sorry, I keep getting into the guidebook, but there's so much with this deck that I feel like not dipping in at least a little bit is doing a little bit of a disservice. As per the oracle decks created by this creator, which I might also have to get in my hot little hands, there is an I am statement for each one. So as we flip through the cards, I will read out those I am statements just so you can see how they relate, because I think that's kind of a key portion of this deck as well. So here we have the Fool cool. And this is Ariadne, and the I am statement for that is I am the dance. So here we have the Magician with, I believe, Daedalus with I am manifestation. The Great Mother, the Goddess, for in place of the High Priestess with I am the mystery. We have the Queen in place of the Empress for I am nurture. The King in place of the Emperor with I am powerful. Again, each of these do relate to a particular deity and or figure. So here for the Hierophant with I am knowing, we have Minoan Zeus. So there are notes about that throughout the guidebook as well. So for the Lovers, we have I am attraction. For the Cart, we have I am driven. Justice, I am truth. The Hermit, I am light with the Asterion. I love that. We have the Labyrinth for the Wheel, for the Pathways of Soul with I am soul. Strength with the red threads for I am inner strength. The Hanged Priestess for I am suspended. I love that in place of the Hanged Man. Absolutely gorgeous death card with I am separation. I love that. Here we have Temperance with the dissolving and I am unity. I love this one too. The Dark God in place of the Devil with the Dance of Dionysus with I am ecstasy. Beautiful. We have the Fall with Icarus with I am falling. The Star with I am brilliant. The Moon with I am intuition. The Sun with I am joy. Gorgeous card. Rebirth with the Trinity and I am awakened. And finally, we have the Universe with the crowning and I am completion. All right, so moving into our earth element, the suit of discs. This is representative of the Minoan civilization. So here we have the Ace of Discs with a prayer to the goddess and I am grounded. Two of Discs with taking the bull by the horns with I am holding on. Three of Discs with bountiful industry and I am my work. The Four of Discs with wealth and I am value. The Five of Discs with collapse and I am suffering. The Six of Discs with giving and receiving for I am thankful. The Seven of Discs with perseverance and I am progressing. The Eight of Discs with work in progress and I am dedicated. The Nine of Discs with blessing and I am prosperity. The 10 of Discs with the spiral of life and I am perspectives. The Goddess of Discs with bird and I am listening. The God of Discs with Cretan Dionysus with I am regeneration. The Goddess of Discs with poppy for I am healed. Beautiful, love that one. And the Goddess of Discs with snake with I am rebirth. So moving into our suit of threads for the fire element, we have the red knot represented. So we have our Ace of Threads with the primal spark, I am ignition. The Two of Threads with the unraveling and I am adventure. The Three of Threads with the enabling and I am willpower. The Four of Threads with Garden of the Heart and I am celebrating. The Five of Threads with upset and I am conflict. The Six of Threads with recognition and I am achievement. The Seven of Threads with protection and I am holding my ground. The Eight of Threads with the change and I am dynamic. The Nine of Threads with adversity and I am resilient. Our 10 of Threads with release and I am unburdened. Then moving into our quartz, we have the Witch of Threads with Circe and I am enchantment. And another Witch of Threads with Crete and I am wise. Then Medea with I am feisty. I love that one. So here we have Cassiophone, I am fearless. Then we move into our suit of blades with the air element, labyrinth, sword, and the bowl. So our Ace of Blades with the horn of consecration for I am reason. Two of Blades with brute force for I am disagreement. Three of Blades with the pierced heart for I am wounded. Four of Blades for rest a while with I am withdrawal. Five of Blades with sorrow and I am beaten. Six of Blades with crossing the water and I am moving on. Seven of Blades with the betrayal and I am deception. Eight of Blades with the darkness and I am fear. Nine of Blades with the dark night with I am darkness. 10 of Blades with the end and I am finality. Youth of Blades with Icarus and I am flying high. The Prince of Blades with Androgynous with I am brilliant. The King of Blades with Theseus with I am self-assured. The Queen of Blades with Phaedra and I am knowledge. Then moving into our final suit with the Suit of Cups, the water element, and this is a love story. So here we have our Ace of Cups with the waters of life, and I am tender. The Two of Cups with union, and I am closeness. The Three of Cups with celebration, and I am joy. The Four of Cups with discomfort, and I am retreating. The Five of Cups with tears, and I am grief. The Six of Cups with remembrance, and I am memories. The Seven of Cups with visions, and I am dreams. The Eight of Cups with release, and I am letting go. The Nine of Cups with life's pleasure, and I am contentment. The 10 of Cups with completion, and I am wholeness. The Priest of Cups with libations, and I am devotion. The Priestess of Cups with the purple dye, and I am spiraling. The God of Cups with Dionysus, and I am loosening. And finally, the Goddess of Cups with Ariadne, and I am empowered. Wow, so beautiful. I really love the artwork in this deck. I really love the key phrases that I saw, the I am statements. I cannot wait to dive into this one. I do want to try pairing it with a few things, but before we get into that, I want to take a little bit closer peek at the guidebook. Okay, so in our guidebook here, we have some acknowledgements and in memory to the creator's mother, which is lovely, and a prayer to the mother goddess. We have a prologue with the Minotaur. I love that. Beautiful. Gorgeous table of contents. The production quality in all of this creator's work is just top notch. Then we have another little kind of prayer or writing of Ariadne to Theseus. And then we have a little bit about the creator's mythic journey. I love reading these. I think it's so wonderful to be able to dive into sort of their thought process. Again, some more little write-ups, prayers, invocations maybe. So then we have an introduction to the deck. Some of this was on the back of the box, which is lovely. And we have a good deal about the myth of Ariadne and Dionysus, which I think is really important, especially if you are unfamiliar with their story. I definitely will be rereading this just to refresh myself on that. We have a little bit about the Minoans. I think this is such a fascinating culture. So again, going into the structure, as I showed you before, we have a list of the major arcanas. The creator does reference the original cards. So for the Dancer, that's the Fool with Ariadne. So for the King is the Emperor with King Minos. So you can see that they're all here so that you can reference those. As I showed you before, here's information on the suits, the symbols, and the Minoan numbers, which is fantastic. A little bit about the major and minor arcana. Again, such a beautifully produced book. So in the major arcana, we have this gorgeous full color image here. We have a quote, the title, who is on the card, the myth around the card, which I think is really, really important in a deck like this. And then we have a soul journey, which is kind of like the divinatory message. And I've glanced through a few of these and they are beautifully written. And then we have the I am statement at the bottom, which I read to you. So you can see we have that through all of the cards here. The book is also tabbed along the side, so look how cool that is. So there's our majors, and here's our discs with the earth element, what it relates to, and again, a little write-up about that actual suit element, which is, again, fantastic. And then we have the exact same setup for all of the minors, where we have the big, beautiful full color image, a quote, what the card is, what its kind of key phrase is, a little bit about the myth or what's being depicted on the card, and then the soul journey along with the I am statement. And you can see we have that through all of the cards. This is a gorgeous guidebook and I can't wait to actually read it. And there's another sort of prayer or invocation here in the back. I will definitely be getting into this guidebook and working with it pretty heavily when I work with this particular deck, because this is the type of thing where I feel like I could read the cards just as they are, sure, absolutely. But to really get into the depth of the cards and the creator's intention and to really mine all of that out of my work with the deck, I feel like I definitely need to be getting into this guidebook. So let's go ahead and switch back to the cards here for a moment. Again, I showed you the beautiful backs. We've seen all the cards and the gorgeous artwork. They are on, I don't know what kind of cardstock this is. It's got a beautiful kind of satiny finish to it. It feels a little bit like the sort of newer US Games cardstock. They're a little bit thicker cardstock, and we're gonna see how it shuffles. So it's oversized, so I don't know that I'm gonna be able to riffle it. I'm hoping I can just kind of corner riffle as you saw, and then maybe scoot it back together. It's too large for me to get my hands around long ways, but with a deck like this, as long as I can corner shuffle it, I'm fine with that. And the cards are a little bit stiff, but I think they'll break in some as well. So we're just gonna kind of give it a little scooch and shuffle here. Overhanding is gonna be, I have really small hands, so overhanding is usually an issue for me with, honestly, it can be an issue for me with a standard size deck. So like keep that in mind and take it all with a grain of salt, but I'm gonna have to edge this deck in yellow, I think. I'm just like this kind of goldeny yellow color, I think that's what's gonna happen. As I'm sitting here looking at these gorgeous backs, that's exactly what's popping to mind for me. I need to edge it to mimic this coloration on the back. Yes, yes, gonna be beautiful. Okay, I do wanna try, I do wanna do a few little pairings with this deck because, you know, I love to, when I first get a deck, see what it's going to pair with in my collection. So we're gonna do our usual split here. Okay, so the first deck that came to mind, and stick with me here, bear with me. Like, there's a whole red thread thing in the Mary Magdalene, and personally, like, I feel they're all the same story, but that's just like my own personal interpretation or mythos, right? My own personal spiritual path. They are all one and the same, just various flavors on the same story. So I got the Mary Magdalene Oracle. This is the new one by Megan Watterson. I haven't even worked with this deck yet. It just, like, it's still in order. It just came in. I just showed it with my members not too long ago. So I just gave it a little shuffle really quickly just so that we can kind of get a mix of things in. The other thing that this deck also does, similar to the red threads, is it does have I am statements. So I thought it might be interesting to see how those all come together. The I am statements are not on the cards for the red threads. They're in the guidebook, and that's totally fine with me. I think that's a great way to do it. I don't necessarily need statements on my tarot deck. So bearing in mind that this is a tarot, this is an oracle, two different structures, right? Now, even though the artwork's completely different in this, what I was thinking was that we're pulling the red thread across various cultures, beliefs, and timelines, essentially, right? All across humanity. And so I thought that might be really cool, even though, like, the art styles, this is digital collage, looks more to be traditional art. So I don't know if aesthetically speaking, they'll go together, you know, perfectly, but I do feel like thematically they're gonna mesh well. So here we have strength, the 10 of threads with the breath, and I reclaim my soul. Also, I feel like just that looking for that red, those pops of red throughout these cards and throughout this pairing might actually be really interesting because you can see where that's showing up. Like the red in the hair is really catching my attention here in the sun. The red in the love has already won text, and the red of the blades. And the message here is silence, I speak from my heart. Beautiful. So I thought this might be a really interesting pairing just because of the whole red thread theme that we're going to pull throughout. So we have rebirth and the youth of blades with beloved, love never ends. Again, aesthetically speaking, they're completely opposite sort of energies. Besides maybe the pops of red, there really isn't anything aesthetically that draws these two decks together. So this is a pairing that I would use strictly thematically. So I'm not necessarily looking for it to look pretty on the table. I'm just looking for it to bring out interesting messages. So here we have the Hanged Priestess with surrender, I'm in good hands, and the Eight of Discs. I mean, that's beautiful. Looking at those messages, again, I could be getting into both of the guidebooks because the guidebooks for both of these decks are beautiful, and that would be that would really add a whole nother layer to my work with the decks. But again, I just thought that this might be really interesting with those thematic red thread energy coming through. So here we have the King and the Fall with the third power, humility is my greatest strength. I mean, I think that actually works. Aesthetically, not so much. I mean, they're fine. But I have other decks here that I think aesthetically are going to pair more succinctly with the red thread tarot. But message-wise, thematically, I think that this is going to be a really interesting pairing. Okay, so let's just do one more because again, you know, it's not the best aesthetically speaking. So here we have Death and the Six of Discs with freedom. I am called here to be free. So the next deck that I wanted to try pairing with it is I believe this is the Soul Flowers cards. Ooh, if I have that name wrong, it'll be in the description box. This is the India version. This deck is available mass market, which I should probably go ahead and pick up. Actually, the cardstock feels quite the same as the red threads. Now we're looking at, I think, what is going to be more of an aesthetically pleasing pairing, but also I thought the addition of the botanicals in with the red thread sort of following that labyrinth, I thought that that might be an interesting tie-in to pull these two together. So we have the Goddess of Cups and the Nine of Blades with the Black-Eyed Susan and recognition. I also love that this has a little message on the bottom. I do not know if the mass market is the same setup. I'll definitely need to look into that. But I felt like these two would go together, not only aesthetically, but also I love putting in botanicals in my readings. That's like one of my favorite things to do, is add that botanical energy through my Oracle deck. Love this Eight of Cups, one of my favorite cards in the deck. So here we have the Four of Blades, the Eight of Cups, and Periwinkle with Entwining. That's beautiful. I love that. Feeling like this is gonna be like the pair, the pair for me. Two of Cups, Nine of Threads, Lady Slippers with Connection. Gorgeous. I love the artwork in these decks together. The Nine of Cups, the Ace of Discs, and Daffodil with Perception. That's beautiful. Yeah, I feel like these are going to be a really potent pair to work with together, because you have the energy of the labyrinth, the red thread, the goddess and god interwoven into the tarot deck, and then to bring in that beautiful botanical energy through the oracle, I just think is going to work really well. Also, like aesthetically, yeah, it's kind of stunning, right? Kind of stunning. All right. Let's do one more. So we've got the Dark God, the Witch of Threads, and Columbine with Abundance. Beautiful. Oh, did I say we were only gonna do one more? Apparently we're gonna do one more. Okay, Six of Cups, the Star, and Purple Poppy with Evolution. That's stunning. So another deck that I thought might be fun to try with this is the Earthcraft Oracle. Now this might be a little much on the table. We shall have to see how it all works together, because like the red threads, there is a lot going on in this particular oracle deck. That's really tall. But I thought maybe, you know, the art might pull itself together. So here we have the Three of Discs, the Moon, and Forest Bathing. That's kind of beautiful. I feel like we're pulling in a little bit of that sort of earth magic into this with this particular pairing. So the Goddess of Discs and the Witch of Threads with the Spirit of the East. Ceremony between the Five of Threads and the Priest of Cups. That's beautiful. I mean, I think the art styles are actually fairly compatible in these two decks. There's a lot going on the table, so I probably wouldn't do, with this particular pairing, I probably wouldn't do more than like 3 cards, just because it does feel like energetically and visually, there's a lot going on the table. I feel like I'm probably leaning more into the botanical deck, but I think this is beautiful too. The Six of Blades and the Two of Blades with Darkness. The Three of Cups, the Ten of Discs, and the Spirit of the West. Yeah, I think it works. I think it works. Ooh, Goddess of Discs with Poppy, the Labyrinth, and Sacrifice. That's stunning. Let me grab one more deck that just popped into mind. Okay, let's see how this one, the Wisdom of the Divine Feminine, pairs up with this, because both of these decks have a very strong divine feminine energy, and I thought these might be really interesting together. The decks that I've shown you so far are all available mass market. This one is an indie oracle. All right, so here we have Wellspring with the Three of Threads and the Ace of Threads. Again, I feel like the artwork is going to be pretty compatible in these. Ooh, look at this. Radiance, Five of Blades, King of Blades. Love that. Expression with the Cart and the Queen of Blades. Yeah, I'm kind of digging these. Again, similar to the Earthcraft, I probably wouldn't do more than like 3 cards on the table, because this is a lot of energy coming at me and a lot visually for me to dive into. So here we have Embodiment with Justice and the Two of Threads. Harmony with the Four of Discs and the Nine of Discs. Okay, one more with this because I have another deck I want to pull. Receiving with the Five of Discs and the Ace of Blades. That's quite lovely. So also from the same creator team, I want to give this one, the Wisdom of the Shadow, a try. So this one I think is going to add a different sort of energy to the readings, and I'm real excited to see how it comes together. So here we have Emotion with 6 of Threads and the Ace of Cups. I do love this deck, the Wisdom of the Shadow. It's gorgeous. Greed with the Hermit in the Universe. Ooh, interesting. It's kind of big. Let's take it down a little bit. 7 of Threads, 2 of Discs with Confusion. Yes, that works for me. I love it. I'm thinking that even though I said like that's a lot on the table, I'm thinking the Wisdom of the Shadow with the Wisdom of the Divine Feminine and the red threads might be kind of cool. Frustration with the Lovers and the 3 of Blades. Connection with the 8 of Blades and the Goddess of Discs. So let me just show you real quick, because I have one of each of these left. We'll have Voice with the Wisdom of the Shadow, and because this card ended up in my shadow deck, but it is a card from the Wisdom of the Divine, it felt like this was meant to be. So there's our grounding. So we have the Wisdom of the Divine Feminine, Wisdom of the Shadow, and then our Red Threads Tarot on either side. This I think is a magical combo, and this would be a really fantastic reading. In fact, I want to pull just a few more of these. So let me grab my Wisdom of the Divine Feminine again, and let's just see if we can make all of this work, because I am loving the look of this together. Okay, so let's pull a Shadow. We have Integration, a Divine Feminine with Life Force. And then for our red threads, we have 7 of Threads and 3 of Blades. Ooh, look how beautiful that is. Okay, this is a really fun pairing, and I feel like I could get some really deep readings with this. Let's do one more. So for our Shadow, what's in Shadow? We have Vulnerability. Let's talk about maybe how we could read this. We have the Divine Goddess, so maybe what we could channel down into us with Blossoming. So what's underneath in the shadow, what we need to channel down into us with the Divine Wisdom with Blossoming, and then we're going to use the tarot to give us more sort of a deeper message of where that's showing up for us in our life. So we have the Moon and the 3 of Discs. So beautiful. So this would be, if I were reading this in a sort of 4 card, I would be using this as sort of the above, the below, and then where it's showing up for me in my life. Or I could also do what I know, what I don't know, what I need to leave behind, and what I need to step into. That would also be a really beautiful way to work with these particular decks. I just like one more, because oh my goodness, these are kind of like blowing my mind. They're so good. Dissolution for the Shadow. Encouragement for our Divine Feminine. And then for our red threads, we've got Temperance. Look how beautiful these are together. And the 7 of Discs. I am loving this combo. I'm definitely going to be playing with this because, like, even though there's so much that I can get out of working with the tarot on its own, which it's such a beautiful deck, even though there's so much I can do with that all on its own, I feel like adding Oracle to it, talking as I'm putting stuff away because I'm excited. Adding Oracle to it really does add a whole nother layer, I think, to the readings, and it really allows me to get into specific energies, which is really cool. This deck is stunning. I am super excited about working with it, actually. It feels like it sits in this really beautiful, self-empowered place where it's really going to encourage me to connect like deep within into self. I love that I can pull in the myths and the stories. That's all included in the guidebook. So I'm great with that because my, knowledge of these stories is like, from a long time ago, right? From being in school or younger, just reading them on my own. It's not a particular pantheon that I work with very in depth. So I'm really excited to touch base with it again and to get to know it again. And there's just something really profound, really beautiful, very feminine, empowered, and very evocative about this particular artwork. I know there is a collection of oracle decks, Red Seeds, I think they're called, Red Seed Oracles, that I'm definitely, going to look at getting to bring into my collection as well, because there's just something very powerful about this creator's work. And I'm really excited to have had the opportunity to share it with you here today, as well as to work with it myself. I'm gonna leave it on that one because like, look how beautiful that card is. So yeah, I'm real excited to dive into this one. Again, I want to thank the creator for sending me this deck to share with you today. I cannot wait to jump in. I'm definitely going to be doing some work with it, and then I can sort of, report back on how it's working out for me, but I expect it to be a really beautiful, empowering, and meaningful deck in my collection, and I'm always on board for those. As always, I'll leave links for everything I've shown here in the description box of this video. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I look forward to sharing with you again soon.